Chapter 20. Heading Out. We got back to Taylor's pod without any trouble. He, or rather she, had constructed a series of concealed paths between the terraces, scattered small garden plots with natural species, and replanted some of the native shrubbery into cloth slings draped over the pod. No wonder she didn't want to leave. Wow, I said, staring at her home. This is wow. Taylor smiled, some of the wariness vanishing from her gaze. You really like it? Heck yeah. She relaxed a little more and led me inside. You mind if I borrow your terminal? I asked, and she waved me to the console at the end of the bed. That, at least, hadn't changed. You know, when this is over, we're going to have to do something with our pods, she said, looking around. It would be a waste to just walk away and leave them. Yeah, I agreed, as the computer booted up. When it came online, I spoke. Base, this is Laurie. Base. I waited, but no one answered. My heart sank as Taylor came to stand beside me. Computer, she said, her voice snapping out and making me jump. Report. We both waited, and I turned to her. I don't know what to do. Thought you said you'd been told to get everyone together. I have, but I sighed, but she got it. You like being told you're on the right track, she said. I shrugged, feeling tears prickle at the edge of my eyes. I looked up at the pod's ceiling and pulled together a reply. Yeah. I was just about to turn away when a familiar voice came out of the computer. Laurie, we don't have time. They are here. You have to get the signals sent, or the colony files will not unlock. Those files hold everything we know about this world. They hold a title for the world. It is too late for us, but you can still beat them. There are only a dozen, and they are alone. Get to the jammer. Send the signal. Do not call here again. Do not try to find us. We have been compromised. Out. And the computer screen went blank. I looked up at Taylor. Her mouth hung open in surprise. Then, as she became aware of my gaze, she closed it. You know who that was? She asked. I nodded. My computer guy. I felt my lips start to tremble, a sob rising in my chest. Oh, God. I hope they're okay. Taylor patted me awkwardly on the shoulder. How far away is Mitch? She asked. I I was going to say I didn't know, but even as I thought it, I brought it up on the computer screen. There. Taylor crowded close, looking over my shoulder. 2 days. We'll get ready tonight and go tomorrow first thing. I stared at her. You're sure? If I can't ever go home, and here she paused, her throat working as though she too was controlling tears. She cleared her voice. If I can't ever go back to Earth, then this is my home, and I'm not going to let anyone take it from me, okay? I nodded, not trusting myself to speak, but Taylor kept staring at me as though expecting me to say something. Finally, I found the words. Better get packing then. My voice sounded husky, but Taylor ignored it as I yielded her the place in front of the computer. Together, we pulled together enough supplies for a 2 day hike. In the end, we added another day's worth, just in case. I might trip over my own feet or break a leg, Taylor said, stuffing the medical kit in on top. You never know. Strange how neither of us laughed. We woke the next day to an alarm. A faint beeping echoed through the pod, and I reached for an alarm clock from another life. I didn't wake up until my hand hit the pod wall. Ow! Shh! Taylor's hiss of warning was enough to bring me back to reality. What is it? Computer says there's a heritage ship in our area. Her voice ratcheted up a knot, panic nibbling at its edges. It says we should get out, but to be careful. It says to hurry, hurry, hurry. Why does it keep flashing like that? I didn't answer her. I just grabbed my pack and my boots and headed for the door. Computer, open, I commanded, and slipped carefully outside, using the pod as cover. I looked back. Grab your boots. Taylor had been heading for the door, pack in hand, but barefooted. We were going to need shoes to get anywhere, and we wouldn't be able to get any more if she left them. She hurried back and grabbed them, then raced for the door. We could both hear the heritage ship, a kind of wind roar that shook the treetops and bushes along the ridgeline. They're looking for us, Taylor whispered, following my example and pulling on her boots. I jerked my hand in a direction that took us along the side of the pod and toward the top of the gully, but Taylor shook her head. This way, she said, and led the way along the edge of the gully below the ridge line where the heritage craft could be heard. This way, she said again when she reached the draping fronds of a plant I hadn't seen before. It looked like a cross between a weeping willow and a bunch of ferns. I shouldn't have been surprised when she slid beneath the leaves and disappeared from view. I was getting really sick of caves. With one last glance at the ridge line, I followed. My visor compensated for the low light levels as I found myself on a narrow ledge. Drop down. Taylor kept her voice quiet, but a soft yellow glow filled the space below the ledge, and I found I could swing myself over the edge and onto a gradual slope that led into it. When did you find this place? I asked, noting the blue coloring of the wall below the ledge. Just after the computer guy moved the pod. He said I should look for caves because the sapphirite indicates them. Oh, now that I hadn't known. I started my cautious way down the slope, taking in the cave as I went. I was really relieved to see it wasn't sandy and that it didn't have any sand in it. There was what looked like a deep pool of water lit by glowing reddish purple crystals. Wow, I said, my voice whispering around the cave. Come on, Taylor said. This will take us out to the other side of the ridge. Which way did we have to go to get to Mitch's? Ah, yes, Mitch's. I felt my heart jump nervously when I heard his name. Maybe all that stuff on the big ship was my imagination. Maybe he thought I was just a dumb kid after all. Maybe, hey, don't look like that. Taylor's voice jolted me out of my worries, and I wondered if she'd guessed what I'd been thinking. The very thought made me blush. Her next words made me relax. We'll find him. Well, that was something. I followed Taylor out of the cave and into one of the tunnels on the other side. After we'd travelled around a bend in the tunnel, she stopped. What was that? I was about to say what when I heard it too, but clear enough that we knew it was Evennatch. Their tongues and throats just didn't make sounds quite the same way ours did. I held my breath, glancing over at Taylor to make sure she was okay. Apart from eyes as wide as saucers, and I don't mean that literally, but geez. Anyway, apart from the whole big eye thing, her face was paler than it had been before. Yeah, she was dealing with this about as good as could be expected. I touched her on the arm and motioned that we should start moving forward. It wasn't until I tripped over my laces for a third time that we stopped to tie them. Taylor hadn't bothered with hers either. When we were done, Taylor led, and we moved as quietly and as quickly as we could down the tunnel. She bypassed several others before choosing one of three at an intersection that gleamed sapphirite blue. Whoa, I said, it's, yeah, Taylor said. It is, isn't it? She gave me a couple of seconds to take it in, then walked down the center tunnel. This way. There's a cave just below the surface, and we can take a break there. You can check the route. She led, and I followed. I was having trouble with the whole identity thing, so I had to ask. Hey, Taylor, I said. I caught a hesitation in her stride, but she kept going. Yeah. How do I mean, what do you call me? Taylor asked. Kind of. No, I mean, what do you call me in your head when you're talking or thinking about me? Yeah. I wanted to assure Taylor that I'd never talk about her, but I knew there would be times when I would, whether it was to report it to the Evennatch or to sort things out with Mitch or the girls or anyone else. So I left it. Well, once I would have said just call me whatever you feel comfortable with. But then I found out that really bothered me because it meant people could ignore who I really was. So I should think of you as she? Yeah. She kept walking for a minute, but neither of us said anything. And then, you didn't laugh. Why would I? Because I was born a boy. But that's not who you are, right? I asked. Some people would argue that it's what I am, though. You mean the girls? I didn't have to say which girls. We both knew which ones. Yeah, them, she said, and I knew there was something she wasn't saying. Uh huh. And that's all I want to say. We're here. Well, there was a tone that said, do not disturb. I decided to leave it and followed Taylor into the cave. It was small, not small enough to be cramped, but close. It's a bit cozy, I said. Picky, picky, picky. How's that map coming along? I took the hint and brought up the map. Truth was, we were almost 3 days from Mitch's place, and I didn't know if the girls had that long. I remembered my computer guy telling me that the heritage considered humans only good for food, and I couldn't help wondering just how hungry they were.